The night is a velvet cloak, wrapped around a world that breathes and whispers. A crescent moon floats above, spilling silver threads across a river that hums with secrets, its waters weaving tales of love and longing. Clara stands by its edge, her breath soft as a sigh, her heart a quiet pulse. She thinks of love, of Daniel, the man whose laughter fills her days, of the dance they share, of the power that stirs beneath her touch. What is this power, she wonders, that women hold in love? Is it a gift, a weight, or something deeper, a spark that burns in the core of her being? This isn't a question that demands a roar. It's a murmur, like the wind kissing the river's surface, a call to pause, to sink into the heart's quiet depths. Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher who saw life as a flame of will and creation, would say Clara's power is no fleeting thing. It's a thread in the eternal weave of human desire. A pulse of strength that shapes the world. In love, a woman's power is not mere charm or guile. It's a force, a will to affirm, to create, to become. So let's walk with Clara along this river, under the moon's gentle glow, and let this tale unfold, slow and soft, like a lullaby meant to cradle you into sleep. What is her power, and how does it shimmer in the stillness of love? Had you ever felt a strength you couldn't name, a quiet force that flows through you, moving the world without a sound? Clara feels it now, her feet rooted by the river, the moonlight tracing her form like a verse. She thinks of Daniel, of the way his voice softens when she speaks, the way her glance can shift the air between them. The world might call her power seduction, a fleeting spell, but Nietzsche would lean close, his voice a whisper, and ask, what is power, truly? Is it dominance, or is it creation, a will to shape life itself? Nietzsche in Beyond Good and Evil saw life as a dance of the will to power, a primal urge that drives every soul to assert itself, to create, to overcome. For Clara, in love, this will is her breath, her touch, her choice to give or hold back. It's the way she crafts the space between her and Daniel, the way her presence commands without shouting. Nietzsche would say her power is not a game of beauty or a trick of the heart. It's her will to power, her drive to affirm her existence, to make her love a living art. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, he spoke of the Übermensch, the one who transcends the ordinary, who creates values in a world without gods. Clara, in her love, is no pawn or queen. She is a creator, painting her relationship with Daniel in strokes of will, passion, and truth. Picture the river, its waters catching the moon's light, rippling like a dream. Clara's power is not a crown she wears or a chain she binds. It's a quiet strength, rooted in her ability to choose. Choose when to open her soul, when to pull back, when to let silence speak. But this power, Nietzsche would warn, is a flame that can warm or burn. It can light her path or consume her if she wields it without care. Have you ever held a power you didn't fully grasp? Clara has, and it's both her gift and her riddle. Nietzsche would say her power flows from her will, but it's shaped by her choices, choices to affirm herself, to love boldly, to stand as herself in love's tender dance. Let's drift deeper into the patterns of this power and see how they unfold under the stars. Why do we love? Why do we pour ourselves into another, knowing the joy, the pain, the risk? Clara's thoughts swirl, the river's hum a gentle guide. She remembers a night with Daniel, his eyes bright as he spoke of his dreams, her words weaving through his, her laughter a bridge between them. There's a power here, one the world might call feminine charm, but Nietzsche would call it something greater. The shaper, the first pattern of a woman's power in love. Nietzsche argued that power is not force, but influence, the ability to move the world without breaking it. Clara, as the shaper, molds the emotional landscape of her love. When she listens to Daniel's hopes, when she offers a touch that eases his doubts, she's not just comforting, she's creating. Her presence is a force, a will that draws him closer, that makes him want to rise, to meet her in the space she's carved. This is power, Nietzsche would say, not in controlling Daniel, but in inspiring him to affirm his own will, to create alongside her. In The Gay Science, Nietzsche wrote of life as an experiment, a canvas for the bold. Clara's love is her experiment, her art, her will to shape a bond that lifts them both. But this power has shadows. Clara feels it sometimes, when her shaping becomes a need to control, when she fears Daniel's dreams might pull him away. Nietzsche warned of the slave morality, the mindset that seeks power through manipulation, through guilt or need. If Clara uses her charm to bind Daniel, to make him depend on her, she risks falling into this trap, her power turning hollow, her love a cage. The shaper must be free, Nietzsche would murmur, free to create without clinging, to love without owning. Have you ever shaped someone's heart, only to fear you've shaped it too tightly? Clara has, and the river sees her struggle. To wield this power, Clara could pause, Nietzsche would suggest, like a breeze holding still. She could ask, what am I creating in this love? Am I lifting us both, or am I binding him to me? She could choose moments to step back, to let Daniel shape their dance too, to let their wills meet as equals. She could reflect on a memory, a night when she held back, let Daniel speak and felt their bond grow stronger, not weaker. Her power lies in her freedom, in her choice to create a love that affirms them both. The moonlight nods, as if to say, shape, Clara, but let the river flow. The river glimmers, its surface a mirror for the stars. Clara thinks of the moments when she stands firm, when her no carries as much weight as her yes. She recalls that evening by the fire, Daniel urging her to move faster, to commit to a future she wasn't ready for. She said no, her voice soft but unyielding, and the air shifted as if the world held its breath. This is her power, not in yielding, but in choosing, in standing as herself. Nietzsche would call this the sovereign, the second pattern of a woman's power in love. In On the Genealogy of Morality, he spoke of the master morality, the strength to affirm one's will, to say yes to life without bowing to others' demands. Clara's sovereignty is her ability to choose her path in love, to set boundaries, to honor her own desires. When she says no, she's not rejecting Daniel. She's affirming herself, her will to live authentically. This is power, Nietzsche would say, the power of the one who creates her own values, who loves without losing herself. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, he wrote of those who stand apart, who shape their lives like stars. Clara, in her no, is a star, shining with her own light. But sovereignty is a delicate art. Nietzsche warned that power can twist into pride, into a need to dominate. If Clara's no becomes a weapon, a way to punish or control, she risks slipping into the slave morality she seeks to rise above. Her power lies in balance, in choosing when to stand firm and when to yield, in loving Daniel as an equal, not a subject. Have you ever said no and felt the world shift? Clara has, and it's a power she's learning to wield. She remembers another moment, a quiet morning when she chose her own pace, and Daniel, instead of pulling away, drew closer, respecting her strength. To embody this power, Clara could reflect. Nietzsche would suggest, like a star gazing at its own light. She could ask, "Why do I say no? Is it to affirm myself or to wound?" She could practice boundaries that honor both her will and Daniel's, creating a love where both are free. She could recall a time when her boundary, a gentle refusal to rush, led to a deeper trust, a moment when Daniel saw her not as an obstacle, but as a partner. Her sovereignty is her crown, Nietzsche would whisper, but it shines brightest when shared. The river song grows clearer, urging Clara to stand tall, to love as a sovereign, not a ruler. The night deepens, the moon climbing higher, its light a quiet hymn. Clara thinks of the way she inspires Daniel, the way her passion, her dreams, her fire seem to kindle something in him. She recalls a night under the stars, her voice alive with stories of places she longs to see. And Daniel's eyes lit up, his own dreams stilling out. There's a power here, one the world might call enchantment, but Nietzsche would see it as the muse, the third pattern of a woman's strength, in love. In The Birth of Tragedy, Nietzsche celebrated the Dionysian spirit, the wild, creative force that breaks through order, that stirs the soul to create. Clara, as the muse, is this force in her love. Her laughter, her stories, her unguarded moments awaken Daniel's own will, urging him to dream, to create, to live more fully. This is power, Nietzsche would say, not in commanding, but in igniting, in being the spark that sets another's fire alight. Clara's muse is her will to power, her ability to inspire without forcing, to love by being fully herself. In The Gay Science, Nietzsche wrote of joy as a force that transforms. Clara's joy, her passion, transforms Daniel, making their love a shared creation. But this power can flicker. Nietzsche warned of the slave morality that seeks approval, that gives to be loved. If Clara becomes the muse to please Daniel, to earn his devotion, her power dims, her fire reduced to a shadow. The muse must burn for herself, Nietzsche would murmur, her light a gift, not a plea. Have you ever inspired someone, only to lose your own spark? Clara has, and the river feels her falter. She remembers a time when she pushed her own dreams aside, trying to be what Daniel needed, and felt her light dim, her heart heavy. To wield this power, Clara could breathe, Nietzsche would suggest, like a wind dancing over the water. She could ask, "Why do I inspire? Is it for me or for him?" She could nurture her own passions, letting her fire burn bright, sharing it with Daniel as an act of joy, not duty. She could recall a moment when her own dream, a trip she planned, a story she wrote, lit her soul. And Daniel, seeing her shine, loved her more, not less. Her muse is her art, Nietzsche would whisper, and it shines when it's free. The stars twinkle, as if to say, "Burn, Clara, and let your light lift you both." The wind stirs, cool and sharp, carrying the scent of earth and pine. Clara thinks of the moments when she chooses silence, when her absence speaks louder than words. She remembers a day when Daniel called, his voice urgent, needing her, but she stayed quiet, needing herself more. Her silence wasn't cold, it was true, and it changed the air between them. There's a power here, one the world might call distant, but Nietzsche would see it as the enigma, the fourth pattern of a woman's strength in love. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche spoke of the eternal recurrence, the idea that life repeats infinitely, each moment a choice to live fully. Clara's enigma is her power to withdraw, to choose when to be present and when to vanish, to let her silence shape their love. When she steps back, when she doesn't answer Daniel's call immediately, she's not punishing, she's affirming her will, her right to exist beyond his gaze. This is power, Nietzsche would say, the power of the one who is whole in herself, who loves without dissolving into another. In Beyond Good and Evil, he wrote of those who are mysteries, who command respect by being themselves. But the enigma is a tightrope. Nietzsche warned that withdrawal can become a game, a way to manipulate through absence. If Clara's silence is a tactic to control Daniel, to make him chase her, she risks falling into the slave morality of neediness disguised as strength. Her power lies in authenticity, in choosing silence because it's true, not because it binds. Have you ever been silent and felt the world lean closer? Clara has, and it's a power she's learning to trust. She recalls another moment, a quiet evening when she chose herself. And Daniel, instead of pulling away, sought her with new respect, seeing her depth. To embody this power, Clara could pause, Nietzsche would suggest, like a star fading into dawn. She could ask, "Why am I silent? Is it my truth or a game?" She could choose moments of absence that honor her soul, returning to Daniel with a love that's free, not forced. She could reflect on a time when her silence, a day spent alone, tending her own heart, brought them closer, their love stronger for her truth. Her enigma is her mystery, Nietzsche would whisper, and it shines when it's real. The river's flow strengthens, urging Clara to be whole, to love as an enigma, not a trap. The river glimmers, its surface a canvas for the night. Clara thinks of the moments when she loves fiercely, when her heart is a fire that burns for Daniel, for herself, for life. She remembers a morning when they danced in the kitchen, her love a wild, unguarded thing, and Daniel joined her, their laughter a shared creation. There's a power here, one the world might call devotion, but Nietzsche would see it as the creator, the fifth pattern of a woman's strength in love. Nietzsche argued that the greatest power is to create, to shape values, to affirm life, to make beauty from chaos. Clara, as the creator, is the architect of her love. Her choices, to forgive Daniel's flaws, to challenge his fears, to dream with him, are acts of creation, building a relationship that reflects her will, her vision. This is power, Nietzsche would say, the power of the one who loves as an artist, who makes love a masterpiece of will and truth. In The Gay Science, he wrote of life as a poem, each moment a chance to create. Clara's love is her poem, her will the pen, her heart the ink. But creation is fragile. Nietzsche warned of the slave morality that clings to safety, that loves to be loved. If Clara creates only to please Daniel, to avoid loss, her power fades, her art reduced to a shadow. The creator must love for herself, Nietzsche would murmur, her will the brush, her heart the canvas. Have you ever loved so fiercely you felt alive? Clara has, and it's a power she's learning to claim. She recalls a time when she chose to forgive, not to keep Daniel, but because it freed her. Her love a creation of strength, not need. To wield this power, Clara could dream, Nietzsche would suggest, like a wind painting the sky. She could ask, what am I building in this love? Is it mine or his? She could choose acts of love that affirm her will, that create a bond where both are free. She could reflect on a moment when her love, a letter she wrote, a dream she shared, built something lasting, something true. Her creator is her legacy, Nietzsche would whisper, and it shines when it's bold. The moonlight glows as if to say, create, Clara, and let your love be art. The night is still, the moon a quiet witness. Clara stands by the river, her heart full, her soul awake. Nietzsche's wisdom, like starlight, lights her way. Her power and love, the shaper, the sovereign, the muse, the enigma, the creator, is not a weapon or a chain. It's her will to power, her drive to affirm, to create, to live fully in the dance of love. Each pattern is a choice, a chance to shape her relationship with Daniel as a work of art, a testament to her strength. Nietzsche would say her power is her Übermensch, her chance to transcend the ordinary, to create values in a world that judges too quickly. In love, Clara is not a queen or a servant. She is a creator, a force, a will that shines under the stars. And the eternal recurrence whispers, live this love as if it will return forever. Each moment a choice to be true, to be powerful, to be you. Have you ever loved and felt the world bend to your will? Clara has, and it's a power she's learning to embrace. Why do you love? What power do you hold? Clara's journey asks us to look within, to see our strength not as control, but as creation. Not as chains, but as freedom. When you choose yourself, when you love fiercely, when you create boldly, everything changes. The world may call you too much, too bold, too free, but Nietzsche would smile and say, you are enough. As Clara turns from the river, the wind at her back, she feels light, like a leaf lifted by the breeze. Nietzsche's voice echoes, soft and sure. Your power is your will, your love a river, your life a star. Shape it, guard it, let it shine, but don't let it fade. Love fiercely, but love truly. Choose a love that lifts you, that flows with you, that lights your way. And now, as you hear this tale, let your breath slow, your eyes grow heavy, the river fades, the moonlight dims, and Nietzsche's words drift like clouds. What is your power? What will you create? Sleep, knowing your will is yours to shape, your light yours to guard. Good night. The night is a velvet curtain draped across a world gone quiet, where a crescent moon spills silver light over a river that whispers secrets to the dark. Clara stands there, alone, her breath a soft rhythm, her heart a drumbeat of questions. Why does she want so much? Why does this hunger gnaw at her, relentless, unending? They call it greed, this fire that burns for more love, more power, more meaning. They pin it to her, a woman, as if it's a stain, a flaw, a weight only she must carry. But what if it's not? What if this greed, this endless wanting, is something else? A cry from the depths of her soul, a map to a truth she's yet to claim. This isn't a question that screams for answers. It's a whisper, like the wind brushing the river's surface, a call to pause, to listen, to sink into the shadows of the psyche. Carl Jung, the quiet sage who saw the mind as a labyrinth of light and dark, would say Clara's hunger isn't hers alone. It's a thread in the tapestry of the collective unconscious, a pulse that beats in us all. Greed, when it's named, especially for women, carries judgment. But Jung would see it differently. It's a mirror, reflecting the parts of her psyche she's buried, the parts she fears. So let's walk with Clara, under the moon's watchful eye, and unravel this tale, slow and deep, like a river carving its path through stone. Why does she want without end? And what happens when she stops chasing, when she turns inward, when everything changes? Have you ever felt a void you couldn't name? A pull towards something, anything, that promises to make you whole? Clara feels it now, her feet rooted by the river, the moonlight tracing her silhouette like a question mark. The world sees her ambition, her restless drive, and calls it greed. She wants too much, they say, too much success, too much love, too much of the stars themselves. But Jung would lean close, his voice a murmur, and ask, what is greed, really? Is it a curse or is it a signal? A flare from the unconscious, begging to be seen. Jung saw the psyche as a river, its surface, the conscious ego, the I that meets the world. Beneath flows the personal unconscious, a current of memories and emotions tucked away. Deeper still lies the collective unconscious, a vast ocean of archetypes, primordial patterns like the hero, the shadow, the trickster, that shape every human soul. Clara's greed, this endless hunger, isn't just a ripple on the surface. It's a wave from the depths, stirred by her shadow. Part of her psyche she's locked away. The shadow holds what she denies, her shame, her power, her unspoken needs. When she chases more, Jung would say, she's not just seeking wealth or praise. She's seeking herself, the fragments of her soul she's been taught to hide. Picture the river, its waters glinting under the stars. Clara's ambition is tied to her persona, the mask she wears to be loved, to be enough. Society has taught women, to be selfless, to give, to shrink. But her hunger defies that script, spilling over, and the world calls it greed. Jung would nod, his eyes sharp, and say, this is no mistake. The shadow, when ignored, grows heavy, like a stone sinking into the river's bed. Clara's greed is her shadow speaking, demanding to be heard. It's her repressed desire for freedom, for a voice that doesn't bow. And the more she denies it, the fiercer it burns, driving her to grasp at what she thinks will fill the void. But here's the truth. Carried on the wind's soft breath, Clara's hunger isn't the enemy. It's how she chases it, how she pours herself into the world's demands without pause, without boundaries. Jung called this a complex, a knot of emotions that grips the psyche like a storm. Clara's complex might be one of lack, a belief that she's never enough, that she must seize more to prove her worth. This complex, Jung would say, is what makes her greed seem endless, a cycle of wanting that never rests. And it pulls her away from individuation, the sacred journey to weave her conscious and unconscious into a whole, authentic self. Have you ever chased something only to find it leaves you emptier? Clara has, and the river, quiet and wise, waits for her to see. Why do we want what we cannot hold? Why do we run toward horizons that fade? Clara's thoughts swirl, the moonlight a mirror for her questions. She thinks of her friend, Leela, who watches her strive and sighs. Why do you need more? Leela asks, her voice a blade. You have enough. A career, a home, love. Why can't you stop? Clara feels the sting, a shame that coils like smoke. She wants to explain, but the words slip away. She keeps pushing, working late, chasing titles, seeking approval because stopping feels like falling, like losing herself. Jung would call this the seeker, the first pattern of Clara's so-called greed. It's a dance between her persona and her shadow, a silent war within. Her persona whispers, be successful, be admired, and you'll be whole. But her shadow growls, you're empty, you're nothing, you'll never be enough. And Clara, terrified of that growl, projects it onto the world, believing that more achievements, more praise will silence it. Projection, Jung taught, is when we cast our hidden fears onto others, seeing in them what we cannot face. Clara projects her fear of inadequacy onto her work, her goals, thinking that if she climbs high enough, she'll be complete. This dance births a complex of inferiority, a belief that she must keep grasping to prove her worth. It's like a river current, relentless, pulling her forward without rest. And this current blocks individuation, the journey to balance her ambition with her need for peace, her drive with her soul's quiet song. Jung would say Clara's greed isn't about wanting too much. It's about wanting blindly, chasing shadows instead of light. Her psychic energy, that vital spark Jung called libido, is poured into this chase, leaving her drained, her heart a hollow echo. Have you ever run so fast you forgot why you started? Clara has, and it's cost her more than she knows. Being a seeker, Joan would murmur, is like chasing a star that never rises. Ambition is a fire, beautiful and fierce, but without reflection, it burns you out. Clara could pause, he'd suggest, and listen to the river's hum. She could ask, what am I truly seeking? What wound drives this hunger? She could write it down, a confession to her shadow. I feel I'm not enough. I fear I'll never be. She could choose goals that feed her soul, not just her persona, and seek allies who see her worth without demanding she prove it. The moonlight would shimmer, approving, as Clara begins to see. Her hunger is a guide, not a chain, as she turns it inward. The river flows on, its surface a canvas for the stars. Clara's mind drifts to her colleague, Mark, who thrives on rivalry. He challenges her, pushes her, and she answers, working harder, staying later, aiming to outshine him. She wants to win, to be the best, and the world calls this greed, a woman's ambition twisted into something ugly. But Clara feels alive in the fight, her pulse racing until the victories pile up and feel like dust in her hands. Jung would call this the competitor, the second pattern of her endless wanting. It's a power complex, where Clara seeks dominance to mask her shadow, her fear of being unseen, her need to matter. Mark projects his own shadow, his insecurity, onto Clara, turning their work into a duel. This dynamic stirs her animus, the masculine archetype of strength and assertion in her psyche. But when unchecked, the animus becomes a tyrant, driving her to compete without end, draining her energy in a war that never fills her. Have you ever fought for a prize, only to find it worthless? Clara has, and the river sees her exhaustion. This pattern pulls her from individuation, from the self, the archetype of wholeness that seeks balance, not conquest. Her psychic energy is spent proving herself, leaving little for her dreams, her joys, her quiet moments under the stars. Jung would say her greed here is a misdirection, a hunger for victory when what she craves is acceptance of herself as she is. Being a competitor, he'd whisper, is like rowing against the river's flow. Striving is human, but striving without purpose drowns you. Clara could step back, Jung would suggest, like a breeze retreating from a storm. She could ask, why do I need to win? What am I proving? She could set boundaries, choosing when to fight and when to rest. She could seek allies, not enemies, who lift her without demanding she bleed. The stars would wink as if to say, you are enough, Clara, without the war. And in that moment, she feels a shift, a softening, a chance to breathe. The night deepens, the moon climbing higher. Its light a silent guide. Clara thinks of her sister, Emma, who leans on her endlessly. Her time, her wisdom, her heart. Clara gives, planning Emma's life, soothing her fears. Because love means sacrifice, doesn't it? But the world sees her giving as greed, a hunger for control, for being indispensable. Clara feels the weight, her own needs buried, her soul stretched thin, like a thread ready to snap. Jung would call this the caretaker, the third pattern of her so-called greed. It's a savior complex, where Clara seeks worth by rescuing others, projecting her shadow, her fear of being unlovable onto Emma. Emma projects her own shadow, her dependency, onto Clara, clinging to her to avoid her own path. This dynamic chokes Clara's anima, the feminine archetype of intuition and care, turning her love into a chain that binds her. Have you ever given so much you forgot yourself? Clara has, and the river mourns her loss. This pattern stalls individuation, pulling Clara from the self's call for reciprocity, for a balance of giving and receiving. Her energy drains, her river running dry as she pours herself into Emma's voids. Jung would say her greed here is a hunger for validation, not control. A belief that she's only worthy when needed. Being a caretaker, he'd murmur, is like filling a well that never holds water. Care is sacred, but care without boundaries empties you. Clara could pause, Jung would suggest. Like a star holding still in the sky, she could say, Emma, I love you, but I need space. She could ask, why do I need to be needed? What fear drives this? She could seek relationships that share the load, that nurture her in return. The river's song grows louder, urging Clara to love herself as fiercely as she loves others. And in that whisper, she finds a spark, a chance to reclaim her heart. The wind stirs, cool and sharp, carrying the scent of earth and pine. Clara's thoughts turn to her friend, Sophie, who always knows best. Sophie's advice is a leash on Clara's career, her choices, her life. Clara listens, nods, bends, because resisting feels like losing Sophie's love. The world calls this greed, a hunger for influence, for shaping others. But Clara feels caged, her voice a whisper she can't hear. Jung would call this the conformer, the fourth pattern of her endless wanting. It's a submission complex, where Clara seeks belonging by yielding, projecting her shadow, her fear of standing alone, onto Sophie. Sophie projects her own shadow, her need for control onto Clara, molding her like clay. This dynamic strangles Clara's animus, the archetype of independence, leaving her bending under Sophie's will, her energy spent pleasing instead of growing. Have you ever silenced yourself to keep the peace? Clara has, and the river feels her pain. This pattern blocks individuation, keeping Clara from the self's call to authenticity, to a life shaped by her own hands. Jung would say, her greed here is a hunger for acceptance, not power, a fear that she'll be cast out if she stands firm. Being a conformer, he'd whisper, is like letting the wind choose your path. Connection is vital, but connection that silences you steals your soul. Clara could speak, Jung would suggest. Like a breeze finding its voice. Sophie, I value you, but I'll choose my way. She could ask, why do I yield? Why do I yield? What do I fear losing? She could seek friends who honor her voice, who walk beside her, not ahead. The moonlight softens, whispering, your path is yours, Clara. Claim it. And in that moment, Clara feels her animus stir, a strength she'd forgotten. The river glimmers, a mirror for the stars. Clara's heart grows heavy as she thinks of Rachel, a friend whose charm is a mask. Rachel takes Clara's time, her secrets, her trust, and twists them, spreading lies, sowing doubt. Clara stays, forgiving, hoping, because losing Rachel feels like losing herself. The world calls this greed, a hunger for connection at any cost. But Clara feels shattered, her trust a fragile shard. Jung would call this the enabler, the fifth pattern of her endless wanting. It's a victim complex, where Clara clings to toxic bonds, projecting her shadow, her fear of abandonment, onto Rachel. Rachel embodies the trickster archetype, projecting her own shadow, jealousy, chaos, onto Clara, manipulating for gain. This dynamic severs Clara's connection to the self, eroding her trust, her energy consumed by Rachel's games. Have you ever held on to pain, thinking it's love? Clara has. And the river weeps for her. This pattern is the heaviest, stalling individuation by trapping Clara in a cycle of hurt. Jung would say her greed here is a hunger for love, not connection, a belief that she must endure to be worthy. Being an enabler, he'd murmur, is like drinking from a poisoned well. Hope is human, but hope that binds you to harm destroys you. Clara could step away, Young would suggest, like a star fading from view. She could limit contact, guard her heart, and ask, why do I stay? What wound keeps me here? She could seek therapy, friends who heal, not hurt. The river's flow strengthens, urging Clara to choose herself, to let go of what poisons her. And in that choice, she feels a spark, a fire that burns for her, not against her. The night is deep, the moon a quiet witness. Clara stands by the river, her breath steady, her soul awake. Young's wisdom, like starlight, lights her way. Her hunger, her so-called greed, isn't a sin. It's a mirror, reflecting her shadow, her complexes, her unclaimed power. The seeker, the competitor, the caretaker, the conformer, the enabler. These are not flaws but teachers, showing her where to grow, where to set boundaries, where to shine. Individuation, Jung would say, is like charting a course by the stars, each step a choice to honor the self, to balance hunger with peace, ambition with rest. Clara's greed was never about wanting too much. It was about wanting wrongly, chasing shadows instead of light. By pausing, reflecting, choosing, she reclaims her energy, her river flowing strong. And the collective unconscious, that vast ocean, holds this truth for us all, in myths of heroes who faced their hunger, who learned to want wisely, to become whole. Why do you want what you want? What void are you trying to fill? Clara's journey asks us to look within, to see our hunger not as greed, but as a guide. When you stop chasing blindly, when you set boundaries, when you choose yourself, everything changes. The world may call you selfish, cold, too much, but Jung would smile and say, you're becoming you, and that's enough. As Clara turns from the river, the wind at her back, she feels light, like a leaf lifted by the breeze. Jung's voice echoes, soft and sure. Your hunger is a map, your psyche a river, your life a star. Follow it, guard it, let it shine, but don't let it burn. Want fiercely, but want truly. Choose connections that lift you, that flow with you, that light your way. And now, as you hear this tale, let your breath slow, your heart settle. The river fades, the moonlight dims, and Jung's words drift like clouds. What do you chase? What will you release? Sleep, knowing your hunger is yours to shape. Your light, yours to guard. Good night. Imagine a small cafe, tucked away in a quiet street, where the air smells faintly of chamomile and freshly baked bread. The afternoon sun spills through the window, painting golden patches on the wooden table. A woman sits there, her hands cradling a cup of tea, steam curling upward like a soft whisper. Her name is Elena, and her mind drifts, not to the bustle of the day, but to something deeper, something that hums beneath the surface of her life. Why, she wonders, does being kind, so endlessly giving, sometimes leave her feeling like a balloon, slowly losing air? Why does her heart, so full of care for others, sometimes feel heavy, as if it's carrying a stone? This isn't a question that demands a loud answer. It's a gentle one, like the sound of leaves rustling outside the cafe window. And to explore it, we'll wander through the ideas of Carl Jung, a Swiss thinker who saw the mind as a vast, quiet lake with depths we rarely see. Jung believed that our relationships, our friendships, our moments of kindness are like ripples on that lake, showing us who we are deep down. But being too nice, giving too much, can stir up waves that pull us away from ourselves. So, let's sit with Elena, sip that tea, and let the story unfold. soft and slow, like a bedtime tale meant to ease you into sleep. Elena's cafe is warm, the kind of place where time feels soft, like a blanket. She's always been kind, you see. As a child, she shared her toys, her snacks, even her secrets, because kindness felt like a key that unlocked smiles, and smiles, to Elena, were treasures. But now, as she sits here, her tea cooling, she notices something. Her kindness, her endless giving, doesn't always bring smiles back. Sometimes it leaves her tired, her shoulders slumped, as if she's been carrying someone else's bag all day. And Jum, with his quiet wisdom, might say this tiredness isn't just about her body, it's about her psyche, that inner world where thoughts and feelings dance. Jung thought of the psyche as a house with many rooms. There's the room you show everyone, the ego, the part of you that says, "This is me." Then there's a hidden room, the personal unconscious, where you tuck away memories and feelings you don't want to see. And deeper still, there's a vast basement, the collective unconscious, filled with archetypes, universal patterns like the hero or the wise old man that live in all of us. When Elena is kind, she's opening the door to her ego, showing the world her best self. But when she's too kind, giving until she's empty, she's stepping into that hidden room, brushing against things she's tried to forget, like her need to say no or her fear of being alone. Let's picture Elena's tea, the steam rising and lazy swirls. Jung would say her kindness is part of her persona, the mask she wears to fit in, to be loved. But every mask has a shadow, and Jung called this the shadow. The part of you that holds what you push away, anger, selfishness, or the need to stand up for yourself. When Elena gives too much, she's ignoring her shadow, pretending it's not there. And the more she ignores it, the heavier it grows, like a pile of unsorted letters stacking up in the corner of her mind. Being too nice, Jung might whisper, is like locking the door to that hidden room. But the shadow doesn't like being locked away. It knocks, softly at first, then louder, until Elena feels that weight, that stone in her heart. Let's stay in the cafe a little longer. The sun now dipping lower, casting long shadows across the floor. Elena thinks of a friend, Sarah, who calls her often, her voice spilling over with troubles. A fight with her partner, a bad day at work. Elena listens, her tea growing cold, offering gentle words, hour after hour. She wants to help, to be the friend Sarah needs. But when she hangs up, she feels hollow, like a glass emptied too quickly. Sarah rarely asks how Elena is doing, and yet Elena keeps answering, keeps giving, because saying no feels like closing a door she's afraid to lock. Jung would nod, his eyes kind but knowing. This, he'd say, is the people pleaser, the first pattern of being too nice. It's a dance between Elena's persona and her shadow. Her persona says, be kind, be helpful, and you'll be loved. But her shadow whispers, what about you? What do you need? And Elena, afraid of that whisper, pushes it down, projecting it onto Sarah. Projection, Jung explained, is when you see your own hidden feelings in someone else. Elena projects her fear of being unlovable onto Sarah, thinking, if I don't help her, she'll leave me. And Sarah perhaps projects her own shadow, her neediness, her fear of standing alone, onto Elena, leaning on her like a crutch. This dance creates a complex, a knot of emotions that Jung saw as a bundle of energy in the psyche. Elena's complex might be a savior complex, a belief that she must rescue others to be worthy. It's like a script she follows, without knowing, making her say yes when her heart says no. And this script pulls her away from individuation. Jung's word for the journey to become whole, to balance all the parts of yourself, kindness and strength, giving and receiving. Individuation is like tending a garden, nurturing every plant, not just the ones that bloom for others. But when Elena is too nice, she's neglecting her own flowers, letting them wilt while she waters someone else's. Being a people pleaser, Jung might say, is like pouring your energy into a cup with a hole. It drains you, not because kindness is wrong, but because kindness without balance forgets the self, the archetype of wholeness that lives in that deep basement of the psyche. The self wants Elena to grow, to shine, but she can't if she's always giving her light away. So if the cafe grows quieter, Elena sips her tea and wonders, how do I stop? How do I say no? Jung would suggest starting small, like a seed planted in soft earth. Notice how you feel after giving, he'd say. If you're tired, heavy, or resentful, that's your shadow knocking. Write it down, like a letter to yourself. I felt drained after helping Sarah. I wanted to rest, but I didn't. Then, practice a gentle no, like a breeze that moves a leaf. Sarah, I care about you, but I can't talk right now. Let's catch up later. And find friends who fill your cup too, who ask about your day, who share the weight. This isn't selfish, Jung would murmur. It's part of becoming whole. The sun is lower now. The cafe bathed in a soft orange glow. Elena's thoughts drift to another friend, Mark, who always seems to need something. A ride to the airport, help with a project, a loan he forgets to repay. Elena gives, because that's what she does. She's the helper, the one who makes things better. But after helping Mark, she feels a quiet anger, like a cloud passing over the sun. She doesn't want to feel this way, but it's there, simmering. Jung would call this the giver, the second pattern of being too nice. It's a pattern where Elena's kindness becomes a one-way street, her energy flowing out but rarely back. In Jung's house of the psyche, this is a power complex, where Mark, perhaps unconsciously, seeks control by taking, and Elena, just as unconsciously, seeks validation by giving. It's another projection. Mark projects his shadow, maybe his fear of inadequacy, onto Elena, relying on her to feel strong. And Elena projects her own shadow, her fear of being unworthy unless she's useful, onto Mark, believing she must give to be valued. This complex, this need to give, blocks Elena's animus, the archetype Jung saw as the masculine energy in a woman's psyche, the part that stands firm, that says, this is enough. The animus is like a steady tree, rooted and strong, but Elena's tree is bending, weighed down by Mark's requests. And this bending pulls her away from individuation, from the balance of giving and receiving that the self craves. Her psychic energy, that spark Jung called libido, is leaking away, leading her less for her dreams, her joys, her own quiet moments in the cafe. Being a giver, Jung would say, is like watering a garden that never blooms for you. It's not that giving is wrong, it's beautiful, like sunlight, but giving without return starves your own soil. So Elena might try a small step, like a pebble dropped in a pond. She could say, Mark, I can't help this time, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. She could notice the balance, asking, what do I give? What do I get? And she could seek friends who share, who bring their own water to the garden, creating a circle of care. As the cafe's light softens, Elena feels a flicker of hope, like a star appearing in the dusk. Maybe she can give, but also keep something for herself. Let's linger in the cafe, the air now cooler, the scent of chamomile still faint. Elena thinks of a coworker, Lisa, who always seems to see the dark side of things. When Elena shares a new idea, a trip she's planning, a hobby she's trying, Lisa sighs. That sounds nice, but it'll probably be a hassle. Their talks leave Elena heavy, her excitement dimmed, like a lamp turned low. She doesn't want to judge Lisa, but she notices the weight, the way her shoulders sink after they talk. Jung would call this the absorber, the third pattern of being too nice. It's when Elena absorbs someone else's negativity, letting it seep into her psyche like rain into dry earth. Lisa, Jung might say, is projecting kanojo no shadow, her fears, her disappointments onto Elena, casting a cloud over her light. And Elena, by staying kind, by listening without pushing back, takes on that cloud, letting it stir her own shadow, her own doubts and fears. This creates a depressive complex, a heaviness that clings to her, making it harder to see the sun. In Jung's world, the psyche needs balance, like a scale that holds both light and dark. Negativity, when it's constant, tips that scale, pulling Elena away from the self's joy and creativity. It also blocks her anima, the feminine archetype of intuition and inspiration, the part that dreams of trips and hobbies. The anima is like a river, flowing and bright, but Lisa's negativity is a dam slowing that flow. And this dam stalls individuation, keeping Elena from the wholeness she seeks. Being an absorber, Jung would murmur, is like letting someone else's rain soak your garden. It's not that you shouldn't care, it's human to listen, but caring without protection drowns your own blooms. So, Elena might try redirecting, like a gentle wind. Lisa, let's talk about something fun instead. She might limit their talks, choosing texts over long chats, saving her energy. And she might seek friends who shine, who share her light, like stars in a clear sky. As the cafe grows dim, Elena feels a softness, a sense that her garden can bloom again if she guards it. The cafe is quieter now, the last rays of sun fading. Elena's thoughts turn to a friend, Clara, who always knows best. When Elena talks about her job, her plans, Clara interrupts. You should do this instead. That's not the way. Her words are firm, like a hand steering a wheel, and Elena feels small, her voice shrinking. She wants to please Clara, to keep the peace, so she nods, but inside, she feels a knot, tight and sharp. Jung would call this the follower. The fourth pattern of being too nice. It's when Elena lets someone else take charge, giving up her own path to avoid conflict. Clara, Jung might say, has a power complex, projecting her shadow, maybe her fear of uncertainty, onto Elena, controlling to feel secure. And Elena, by yielding, projects her own shadow, her fear of standing alone, onto Clara, believing she must follow to be accepted. This creates a submission complex, a pattern where Elena feels she must obey, even when it chokes her. This pattern blocks Elena's animus, that strong tree of assertiveness. It's as if Claire's control is a storm, bending Elena's branches, keeping her from standing tall. And this bending stalls individuation, keeping Elena from the self's call to be free, to choose her own way. Her psychic energy, that precious spark, is tied up in pleasing Clara, leaving less for her own dreams. Being a follower, Jung would say, is like letting someone else paint your canvas. It's not that you shouldn't listen. Advice is a gift, but listening without choice erases your colors. So Elena might try speaking, like a soft breeze. Clara, I value your thoughts, but I'm going to decide this myself. She might set boundaries, like a fence around her garden, keeping her choices safe. And she might seek friends who respect her voice, who let her paint with her own hues. As the cafe's light fades, Elena feels a spark, a sense that her canvas is hers to shape. The cafe is almost dark now, the only light from a small lamp in the corner. Elena's tea is cold, but her heart feels warm, stirred by a memory of a friend, Rachel, who seems perfect at first, charming, attentive, full of compliments. But Rachel has a way of twisting things, sharing Elena's secrets, stirring drama, making Elena feel less than enough. After their talks, Elena feels a knot in her chest, a mix of hurt and doubt, like a bruise that lingers. Jung would call this the enabler, the fifth pattern of being too nice. It's when Elena stays kind to someone who hurts her, excusing their harm to keep the peace. Rachel, Jung might say, embodies the trickster archetype, a chaotic force that manipulates for its own gain, projecting her shadow, jealousy, perhaps, or insecurity, onto Elena. And Elena, by staying, enables this, projecting her own shadow, her fear of loneliness onto Rachel, believing she must endure to be loved. This creates a victim complex, a pattern where Elena feels powerless, trapped in Rachel's web. This pattern is the heaviest, blocking Elena's connection to the self, the heart of individuation. The self wants trust, growth, but Rachel's manipulation erodes that, making Elena doubt her own judgment. It also chokes her anima and animus, the river and tree, leaving her stuck, unable to flow or stand. Her energy, that spark, is consumed by Rachel's chaos, leaving little for Elena's own light. Being an enabler, Jung would whisper, is like tending a garden that poisons your soil. It's not that you shouldn't forgive. Forgiveness is human, but forgiving without change lets the poison spread. So, Elena might step back, like a leaf falling from a tree, reducing contact, guarding her secrets. She might seek help, talking to a friend or therapist, untangling the knot, and she might reflect, asking, "Why do I stay? What fear keeps me here?" As the cafe grows still, Elena feels a quiet strength, a sense that her garden can heal if she protects it. The cafe is silent now, the lamp casting a soft glow. Elena's tea sits untouched, but her mind is clear, like a sky after rain. Jung's ideas, like stars, light her path. Being too nice, she sees, isn't about kindness, it's about balance, about honoring the self as much as others. The people pleaser, the giver, the absorber, the follower, the enabler, these are patterns, mirrors of her shadow, her complexes, her fears, but they're also teachers, showing her where to grow, where to set boundaries, where to shine. Individuation, Jung would say, is like weaving a tapestry, each thread a part of you. Kindness, strength, joy, rest. Being too nice frays those threads, pulling the tapestry apart. But choosing balance, giving with limits, listening with care, standing with courage, weaves it whole. And the collective unconscious, that vast basement, holds this truth for all of us. In myths and stories of heroes who learn to say no, to choose themselves, to become whole. As Elena leaves the cafe, a night air cool against her skin, she feels lighter, like a bird ready to fly. Jung's wisdom, like a gentle lullaby, reminds her, your heart is a garden, your life a canvas, your psyche a lake. Tend it, paint it, let it ripple, but don't let it drain. Be kind, but be whole. Choose relationships that lift you, that shine with you, that weave your tapestry bright. And now, as you listen to this tale, let your eyes grow heavy, your breath slow. The cafe fades, the tea cools, and Jung's words drift like clouds. Sleep, dear one, knowing your garden is yours to tend, your light, yours to shine. Good night.
Welcome, dear listener. Pause for a moment. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and feel a warmth stirring within. A spark, a pulse, a radiant fire. This is your sexual energy, a primal living force coursing through your body and soul. It is not mere desire, it is the breath of creation, the heartbeat of your psyche, a sacred flame linking you to the infinite cosmos. Today we embark on a transformative journey to harness this fire to manifest wealth, not just money, but the boundless abundance of your being. Guided by the visionary wisdom of Carl Jung, we will enter the temple of your soul, where this flame burns, ready to reshape your reality. Have you ever felt this fire stir, only to let it flicker unchanneled? Have you sensed its power, yet found abundance elusive? The video Orgasmic Wealth proposes that sexual energy, directed at the peak of orgasm, can magnetize financial prosperity. Jung, the alchemist of the psyche, invites us deeper to see this energy as a sacred force, a key to unlocking not only wealth but the radiant fullness of your true self. This is your odyssey, the dance of fire and soul, of abundance and awakening. Let us ignite the flame together. Part 1. The Sacred Fire, Sexual Energy as Libido. What is sexual energy? In the video, it is hailed as a raw, creative power, a surge of force that, when directed with intention, can draw wealth like a magnet. For Carl Jung, sexual energy is far more than a physical impulse or a tool for manifestation. It is libido, the psychic life force, the primal energy that animates the soul. Libido is not confined to the act of intimacy. It is the spark igniting art, the drive fueling discovery, the pulse forging connection with the divine. It is the fire burning at the heart of your soul's temple, illuminating your deepest desires, your boldest dreams, your very existence. Close your eyes and feel this fire. It is not merely in your loins. It pulses in your breath, courses through your veins, tingles in your fingertips. It is the raw, living essence of life itself, awakening your senses, stirring your soul to create. Jung saw libido as a mighty river of psychic energy, flowing through every act of creation, whether painting a masterpiece, birthing a revolutionary idea, or manifesting a reality of abundance. In the pursuit of wealth, this fire is the spark that can ignite a world of prosperity, but only if you wield it with conscious intention. The video proposes a striking method: channeling sexual energy during orgasm, visualizing financial goals as the climax peaks. Jung would embrace this idea with enthusiasm, recognizing orgasm as a moment of profound psychic intensity, where the boundaries between conscious and unconscious blur. But he would add a vital caution. Libido is a sacred force, a river that can flood chaotically if undirected, or dry up if repressed by fear or taboo. To manifest true wealth, abundance that enriches both body and spirit, you must journey into the depths of your psyche, aligning this fire with your soul's purpose. This odyssey unfolds through 5 sacred stages, each illuminated by Jung's profound insights. 1. Confronting the shadow, where unconscious beliefs about wealth lurk, dimming your fire. 2. Engaging archetypes, the universal patterns that script your reality, guiding your flame. 3. Channeling libido through active imagination, the psyche's symbolic language, to shape abundance. 4. Transforming orgasm into a sacred ritual, uniting conscious and unconscious in a dance of creation. 5. Embracing individuation, where wealth becomes a radiant reflection of your whole self. Prepare your heart and mind. This is not merely a quest for money. It is a pilgrimage to awaken the infinite abundance within your soul. Let us step into the temple of your psyche, where the sacred fire awaits. Part 2. The Shadow, unveiling barriers to the fire's flow. Imagine standing before your sacred fire, its flames leaping high yet veiled by unseen shadows. From the darkness, whispers rise, soft but insistent. Wealth is greedy. I am not worthy of abundance. Money belongs to others, not me. This is the shadow, Jung's term for the repressed corners of your psyche, fears, doubts, and desires you've pushed out of awareness. The shadow is not your adversary. It is a fragment of your soul, a piece of you yearning to be seen, to be welcomed back into the light of your fire. The video urges you to program your intention for wealth before the peak of orgasm, aligning your sexual energy with visions of prosperity. Jung would pause and ask, what unseen forces within you undermine this intention? If you consciously affirm, money flows to me effortlessly, yet your shadow clings to beliefs like, I'll never have enough, or wealth is sinful, your libido will falter, its fire caught in an inner tug of war. These shadow beliefs, often rooted in childhood experiences or cultural conditioning, act like an invisible director, staging a reality of scarcity rather than abundance. Reflect on this. Perhaps as a child you heard a parent sigh, money is so hard to earn, planting a seed of struggle in your unconscious. Or maybe society instilled a subtle guilt, equating wealth with selfishness, making you shy away from prosperity. These beliefs sink deep, lodging in the shadow, where they shape your financial reality without your awareness. If you find yourself trapped in a cycle of lack, always short of funds, missing opportunities, or sabotaging success, your shadow may be telling a story of limitation, dimming the radiant potential of your sexual energy. Consider the story of Alina, a woman who dreamed of financial freedom but felt stuck in a low-paying job. Through Jung's methods, she uncovered a shadow belief. If I'm rich, I'll lose my integrity. This belief, rooted in her family's distrust of wealth, blocked her libido's flow, making her unconsciously avoid opportunities. By facing this shadow, she reclaimed her fire, using it to manifest a thriving career aligned with her values. Her wealth grew, but more importantly, she found peace in her abundance. Transforming the shadow to unleash the fire. Jung taught that transformation begins by confronting and integrating the shadow, not by rejecting it, but by embracing it as a vital part of your psyche. This process frees your sexual energy, allowing its fire to burn brightly toward abundance. Let me guide you through 2 exercises to begin this sacred work. Exercise 1, Shadow Journaling. Find a quiet space and open a notebook. Write about your relationship with wealth, letting your thoughts flow freely. Ask, what do I feel when I think of money? What beliefs hold me back? You might uncover thoughts like, I can't be rich because I'm not talented enough, or money corrupts people. Be honest, even if the words feel heavy. Now engage in a dialogue with this belief. Ask, where did you come from? Who planted you in my heart? Write without censoring, letting memories, emotions, or images surface. Perhaps you recall a parent's anxiety over bills, a teacher's dismissal of your ambitions, or a moment of shame when you desired more. There is no judgment here, only listening, only understanding. Next, write a letter to this belief, addressing it with compassion. I see you, fear of unworthiness. You've kept me safe, shielding me from rejection or judgment, but I am ready for a new story. Then craft a new affirmation. I am worthy of abundance. Wealth is a natural expression of my creative fire. Before your next orgasm, hold this affirmation in your mind, feeling the flame of your libido burn away the shadow's veil, its heat transforming limitation into possibility. Read this affirmation daily, letting it sink into your soul. As you do, note any emotions, memories, or resistances that arise. They are signposts, guiding you deeper into your psyche. Exercise 2, Shadow Visualization. Sit comfortably in a quiet space, close your eyes, and take 3 deep breaths, letting tension melt away with each exhale. Picture your shadow as a figure, a dark silhouette standing before your fire, a frightened child clutching a heavy stone, or a locked gate blocking a golden path. Don't force the image, let it emerge naturally from your unconscious. Ask this figure, what do you want to tell me about wealth? What do you need to feel safe? Listen for a response, whether it comes as an image, a feeling, or a phrase. You might hear, I'm afraid of losing control, or see a memory of scarcity, a time when you felt deprived or unworthy. Approach this figure with compassion, as you would a dear friend. Visualize embracing it, saying, "I accept you. You are part of me, and together we will create abundance." Imagine the figure softening, a silhouette stepping into your fire's light, a child releasing the stone, a gate swinging open to reveal a treasure-filled hall. As you conclude, take a final deep breath, feeling the shadow's energy merge with your own, its weight lifting, its darkness illuminated by your fire. Journal your experience, reflecting on these questions. What did this figure reveal about my beliefs? How can I honor its needs while embracing abundance? For ongoing practice, revisit this visualization weekly, noting how the shadow figure evolves. Does it grow lighter, more integrated? Does it offer new insights? Each encounter strengthens your ability to channel your sexual energy, ensuring it flows freely, unhindered by unconscious barriers. Confronting the shadow is a sacred act, a ritual of reclaiming your power. Each whisper you hear, each veil you lift, allows your sexual energy to burn brighter, its flames no longer dimmed by fear or doubt. Your libido, once constrained, now surges like a river, ready to carve a reality of abundance aligned with the deepest truths of your soul. Pause for a moment. Feel the warmth of your fire growing, its light piercing the shadows, its heat awakening your potential. You are stepping into your power, and the journey has only begun. Part 3. Archetypes, the cosmic dance of prosperity. Now, picture your sacred fire joining a greater blaze, a cosmic flame burning through the soul of humanity. This is the collective unconscious, Jung's reservoir of shared psychic patterns known as archetypes, universal figures that shape our realities. There is the creator, forging wealth from vision, the hero, overcoming obstacles to claim prosperity, and the goddess of abundance, whose touch spills forth rivers of gold. These archetypes are not distant myths. They live within you, guiding the dance of your libido, scripting the story of your abundance. The video draws on ancient practices, tantric mantras like Shri, Egyptian symbols like the Ankh, hermetic visualizations of golden light. Jung would recognize these as doorways to archetypes, each a key to aligning your sexual energy with prosperity. The mantra Shri invokes the goddess of abundance, a figure like Lakshmi, whose presence radiates effortless wealth. The Ankh, the Egyptian key of life, aligns with the archetype of renewal, symbolizing the infinite cycle of creation. The golden light of hermetic wisdom reflects the self, the radiant center of your psyche, where all abundance originates. If you feel trapped in financial lack, struggling to make ends meet, watching opportunities pass you by, you may be under the spell of the victim archetype, which casts you as powerless in a scarce world. Or perhaps the hoarder archetype, driven by fear, clings to every penny, blocking the flow of prosperity. To manifest wealth, you must align with archetypes that embody abundance, such as the creator, who transforms ideas into tangible value, or the goddess of abundance, whose energy attracts wealth, like a river draws water to its course. Consider the story of Marcus, a man who felt wealth was always out of reach. His unconscious was governed by the victim archetype, rooted in childhood memories of his family's financial struggles. Through Jung's methods, he connected with the creator archetype, visualizing it during orgasm rituals as a visionary crafting a prosperous future. This shift empowered him to start a small business, and his wealth grew, not just in money, but in confidence and purpose. His libido, once stifled, became a flame of creation, aligned with the universe's abundance. Engaging archetypes to ignite abundance. Jung believed that by consciously engaging archetypes, you can rewrite the psychic scripts that govern your reality, directing your sexual energy toward prosperity. Let me guide you through an exercise to awaken these abundant figures within your psyche. Exercise 3. Archetype Connection. Take your notebook and reflect on a recurring financial pattern in your life. Perhaps you write, "I never have enough money to feel secure," or "Opportunities seem to slip through my fingers." Ask yourself, which archetype is telling this story? It might be the victim, feeling cheated by fate, or the hoarder, guarding against loss. Be honest, allowing the answer to emerge without judgment. Now, choose an archetype that inspires abundance. Consider the goddess of abundance, radiant with golden light, her hands overflowing with wealth, her presence a promise of effortless flow. Or the creator, a visionary wielding tools of innovation, building a world of plenty from the raw materials of imagination. Ask, if I embodied this archetype, how would I act? How would I feel about money? Write down your insights, noting shifts in your perspective. Close your eyes and visualize this archetype as a living figure. See the goddess, her eyes warm with compassion, her form shimmering with gold, rivers of abundance flowing from her hands. Or the creator, standing at a workbench, crafting wealth with confidence and joy. Ask, what guidance do you offer for manifesting abundance? Listen for a response, an image, a feeling, a phrase like, "Trust the flow of your fire," or "Create boldly, without fear." Record this message in your journal, capturing its essence. During your next orgasm ritual, hold this archetype in your mind. As your sexual energy peaks, visualize your fire merging with the archetype's light, the goddess's gold enveloping you, the creator's tools in your hands. Affirm silently or aloud, "I am abundance. My fire creates wealth." Feel the pleasure as a confirmation, your libido dancing with the archetype's energy, aligning you with the universe's prosperity. Each day, take a small action to embody this archetype. For the goddess, practice gratitude, feeling the richness of what you already have, a warm meal, a kind word, a moment of peace. For the creator, sketch a financial plan, start a project, or explore a new skill. These actions are not mere tasks, they are rituals, offerings to the archetype, strengthening your connection to abundance. By embracing these archetypes, you shift the script of your psyche. Your sexual energy, your libido, no longer flickers in the shadow of limitation. It dances with the universe's infinite wealth, drawing opportunities to you like stars gathering in the night sky. You are not just a seeker of abundance, you are its source, your fire a beacon of prosperity. Part 4. Active Imagination, the fire's symbolic language. Step now into a sacred grove where the air hums with the whispers of your soul. At its center burns your fire, your sexual energy, fierce and radiant, its flames casting light on the world around you. From the shadows, symbols take shape, a flowing river, a golden key, a luminous jewel. These are not mere images, they are the language of the unconscious, speaking truths your conscious mind may not yet grasp. Jung called this dialogue with symbols active imagination, a powerful method to channel your libido and reshape your reality. The video encourages you to visualize wealth during orgasm, seeing bank accounts swell, opportunities align, prosperity unfold. Jung would deepen this practice, urging you to let the unconscious guide the vision, revealing what blocks abundance and how to unleash it. A symbol like a locked door in your imagination might represent a belief. Wealth is unattainable for someone like me. By engaging this symbol, transforming it into an open gate leading to a treasure-filled hall, you rewrite the psychic narrative that governs your financial reality. Active imagination is not passive daydreaming. It is a dynamic conversation, a dance between your conscious intention and the unconscious's wisdom. When paired with the intensity of sexual energy, this practice becomes a potent alchemy, turning the raw fire of your libido into a focused force for manifestation. Your orgasm, far from a mere release, becomes a moment of creation where the symbols of your psyche merge with your fire to birth a new reality. Consider the experience of Sarah, who felt trapped in financial stagnation. Through active imagination, she visualized a dry riverbed, symbolizing her belief that money never flows to me. During an orgasm ritual, she imagined rain falling, the river swelling with golden water, her libido fueling the transformation. This shift empowered her to pursue a new career path, and within months, her income grew, reflecting the inner flow she had awakened. Her sexual energy, guided by symbols, became a river of abundance. Let me guide you through an exercise to channel your sexual energy through the symbolic language of your psyche, aligning it with the creation of wealth. Exercise 4. Active imagination with symbols. Find a quiet space where you can be undisturbed. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and take 3 deep breaths, letting tension melt away with each exhale. Picture a symbol that represents your relationship with wealth. It might be a locked door, a dry riverbed, a heavy chain, or something uniquely personal, a coin, a tree, a mountain. Don't force the image. Let it arise naturally from the depths of your unconscious, as if it is speaking to you. Ask the symbol, what do you represent? What message do you hold about my abundance? Listen for a response, whether it comes as an image, a feeling, or a phrase. A locked door might say, I am your fear of scarcity, keeping you safe but confined. A dry riverbed might whisper, you've forgotten how to let wealth flow. Be patient, allowing the answer to unfold in its own time. Now engage the symbol with intention. If it's a door, search for a key. Perhaps it appears in your hand, glowing with light. Or push it open with the strength of your will. If it's a riverbed, imagine rain falling, water surging, gold shimmering in its current. Let the symbol transform, guided by your desire for abundance. See the door swing wide to reveal a treasure-filled hall, the river flowing with wealth, the chain dissolving into a cascade of coins. During your next orgasm ritual, hold this transformed symbol in your mind. As your sexual energy builds, visualize your fire, your libido, rising through your body, from the base of your spine to the crown of your head. At the peak of orgasm, see your fire merge with the symbol, the door fully open, the river overflowing, the jewel radiant, and affirm silently or aloud, I am wealth. My fire creates abundance. Let the pleasure amplify this affirmation, as if the sensation itself is the universe sealing your intention. Afterward, sit in stillness for a few moments, breathing deeply. Imagine the energy of your orgasm anchoring into your reality, like a seed planted in fertile soil, ready to sprout opportunities, financial flow, and inner richness. Open your eyes and journal your experience, reflecting on these questions. What did this symbol reveal about my relationship with wealth? How can I embody this new story in my daily life? What actions can I take to honor this transformation? Active imagination transforms your sexual energy into a conscious flame, burning away the ashes of limitation and illuminating a path to prosperity. You are not merely visualizing wealth, you are speaking the sacred language of your soul, and the universe is listening, ready to respond with abundance. Part 5. Sacred Ritual. Orgasm as a holy act of creation. Now, imagine standing at the threshold of a sacred moment, your sexual energy surging like a flame reaching toward the stars. This is orgasm, not a fleeting release, but a sacred ritual, a point where your libido, your fire, touches the divine within and beyond. Jung would see orgasm as a moment of profound union, where the conscious and unconscious merge, where the finite self meets the infinite cosmos. The video describes orgasm as a gateway to send intentions into the universe. Jung would call it a holy act of creation, a prayer woven with the threads of your soul's deepest desires. In this moment, your sexual energy is at its zenith, a raw, unfiltered force of life pulsing through your body. The video suggests imprinting this energy with visions of wealth, full bank accounts, new opportunities, a life of ease. Jung would deepen this vision, viewing orgasm as a ritual that aligns your psyche with your highest purpose. When you direct your libido consciously, you are not just manifesting money, you are declaring to your soul and the universe, I am abundance, I am whole, my fire creates reality. This ritual is not about indulgence or escapism, it is about intention, presence, and reverence. Your sexual energy, when channeled with awareness, becomes a sacred offering, a spark that ignites the possibilities of your life. It is a moment when the boundaries of self dissolve, and you stand as a creator, your libido a flame that shapes the world. Consider the experience of James, who felt disconnected from wealth, his life marked by financial stress. Through Jung's approach, he began treating orgasm as a sacred ritual, using his sexual energy to affirm abundance. He visualized a golden river during climax, his libido fueling the flow, and affirmed, I am wealth. This practice shifted his mindset, leading him to take bold financial risks, a new investment, a career change that paid off. His wealth grew, but more profoundly, he found a sense of inner richness, his fire burning with purpose. Exercise 5, Sacred Orgasm Ritual. Create a sacred space to honor this ritual. Dim the lights, light a candle, or place a symbol of abundance, a golden jewel, a small coin, a flower. Sit for a moment, breathing deeply, and set an intention. I channel the fire of my libido to manifest abundance and align with my true self. Feel this intention settle into your body, a warm pulse aligning with your heartbeat. As arousal builds, focus on your breath, inhaling deeply through your nose, exhaling slowly through your mouth. Visualize your sexual energy as a flame kindling at the base of your spine, its heat growing with each breath. See this flame rise through your abdomen, igniting your core, through your heart, warming your spirit, to the crown of your head, connecting you to the cosmos. Feel it as a living force, pulsing with your intention for abundance, its light growing brighter with each moment of pleasure. As you approach orgasm, hold a symbol of wealth in your mind, a flowing river of gold, a treasure chest bursting open, a radiant sun casting prosperity. At the peak of orgasm, let the flame of your libido merge with this symbol. The river overflowing, the chest revealing riches, the sun bathing you in light. Affirm silently or aloud, I am abundance. My fire creates wealth. Prosperity flows to me effortlessly. Let the pleasure amplify this affirmation, as if the sensation itself is the universe sealing your intention, your libido a sacred vow to your soul. After orgasm, remain still for a few moments, breathing slowly and deeply. Imagine the energy of your climax anchoring into your reality, like a seed planted in fertile soil, its roots spreading to sprout opportunities, financial flow, and inner richness. Picture this energy crystallizing into tangible forms, a new job offer, a successful investment, a sense of ease. Feel your fire settling, its warmth grounding you, its light sustaining you. Open your eyes and journal your experience, reflecting on these questions. How did this ritual feel in my body and soul? What images or sensations stood out? How can I carry this sense of abundance into my daily life? Write down one action you will take to honor this ritual, perhaps reviewing your budget, exploring a side hustle, or simply expressing gratitude for what you have. This sacred ritual is a vow to your soul, a moment when your sexual energy becomes a prayer, a spark that ignites the possibilities of your life. Your libido is not just a force, it is a divine gift, weaving abundance into the tapestry of your reality, thread by golden thread. Part 6, Individuation. The fire of wholeness. Envision standing before a radiant portal, its golden light pulsing with infinite possibility. Beyond lies a reality of boundless abundance, not just in wealth, but in spirit, creativity, and joy. This is individuation, Carl Jung's vision of becoming your true self, integrating shadow and light, conscious and unconscious into a harmonious whole. Your libido, your sexual energy, is the sacred fire fueling this journey, aligning you with your soul's purpose, where wealth reflects your inner fullness. The video's focus on manifesting money is powerful, but Jung would see it as a step toward living authentically. True wealth is inner richness, feeling enough, creating freely, living purposefully. Channeling libido affirms your worth, not chasing riches, but mirroring yourself. Individuation embraces your unique essence, letting your fire shine. Wealth, money, love, purpose flows naturally, a reflection of your soul. Consider Elena, who felt unworthy of wealth, her shadow whispering, "You'll fail." Through individuation, she faced this fear, rooted in childhood criticism, and embraced the creator archetype. In orgasm rituals, she visualized her libido as a flame merging with a golden sun, affirming, "I am abundance." This empowered her to start a business, growing her income and confidence. Her fire became a beacon of her true self. Or take Aisha, trapped in scarcity, her shadow fearing loss. She integrated this fear, connecting with the goddess of abundance. In rituals, her libido became a river of gold, affirming, "I am the flow." Bold actions, a new career, investments, yielded prosperity and peace. Her wealth mirrored her soul's radiance. Embracing individuation. Begin individuation now, using libido to align with yourself. Here's an exercise to weave abundance into your being. Exercise 6. Connecting to the self. In a quiet space, journal, what does wealth mean to my true self? Answers may include freedom or creativity. Write, I am a creator, abundant in spirit. Reflect, how does this align with my purpose? For your orgasm ritual, create a sacred space, candle, golden stone. Set an intention. My libido manifests abundance and aligns with myself. As arousal builds, visualize your energy as a flame rising from your spine to your crown. At orgasm, see it merge with your self's golden light, affirming, I am whole. Wealth is my soul's expression. Feel the pleasure, seal this vow. After, anchor the energy, imagining it rooting into reality, new opportunities, ease. Journal. How did this ritual feel? What actions will honor myself? Act daily. Plan a goal. Create. Revisit monthly, updating your declaration. Individuation makes wealth your soul's mirror. Your libido is the fire of wholeness, creating a radiant reality. Part 7. Living as a flow of abundance. You faced shadows, danced with archetypes, transformed symbols, and glimpsed individuation. Now, live as a flow of abundance, your libido the sacred fire sustaining this river. Jung's path is a lifelong dance, where wealth is not a goal but a state of inner fullness. Imagine your life as a river, fed by your fire. Each orgasm, each conscious act keeps it flowing, golden, abundant. Challenges, doubt, ego invite growth. Your libido transforms them, guiding you to richness in money, purpose, and joy. Maya, trapped in scarcity, saw her libido as a fire. Facing her shadow, she embraced the goddess archetype, visualizing a golden river in rituals, affirming, I am prosperity. Bold actions, starting a business, grew her wealth and confidence. Her fire sustained her flow. Sustaining the flow, weave these practices into your life, guided by libido. 1. Live with meaning. Infuse actions with purpose. I honor abundance. During orgasm, affirm my fire creates prosperity. 2. Dialogue with the unconscious. Journal, what does my libido create? Integrate shadow fears. 3. Embrace conflict. Ask fears, what do you teach? Affirm my fire integrates all. 4. Sacred practice. Regular orgasm rituals with varied symbols. River, sun, anchor abundance. Your libido is your soul's song, singing of prosperity. Dance with it and your reality becomes a river of gold. Pause. Feel your river, fed by your fire. Part 8. Conclusion. Dance with your fire. Return to your sacred fire, its flames blazing eternal. This is your libido, your soul's radiant power. Jung says, you are not lack, you are abundance, the creator of your reality. Reflect on your journey. You faced shadows, danced with archetypes, transformed symbols, and glimpsed individuation. Your fire is the heart of this dance. Each orgasm, each act ignites wealth, purpose, joy. Begin now. Choose an exercise: shadow journaling, archetype connection, orgasm ritual. Ask, what does my fire create? Take one step. Plan, create, affirm. Your libido guides you. The universe responds. You are not alone. Your soul, your fire, the cosmos dance with you. Keep tending your flame, and your reality will shine, not just with wealth, but with your boundless self. You are the fire, the creator, abundance.